Okay, in this video for Computer Graphics 215, what I would like to talk to you about is the actual slide feature in PowerPoint. Now, we've talked a lot about PowerPoint presentations and whatnot and how to compel audiences to want to believe in a story and how it's a performance, but we haven't talked about the bones upon which these presentations are built in PowerPoint. Now, bear in mind as we have this conversation that PowerPoint is one of many presentation tools available to individuals to use to create presentations. And we have to remember that presentation design emerged from slides, 35 millimeter slides, that in the past, my forebears, who are now in their 70s, to create a presentation had to go and work with a designer to generate literal slides that were put into a physical projector to create a presentation. PowerPoint is the millennial version of that same sort of technology. So when you look at the PowerPoint interface, we oriented you to the different components of the screen and whatnot. Here we're looking at the main slide view. This is where you're going to do the lion's share of your work in PowerPoint. You're going to add text, you're going to add images, you're going to select background colors. This all happens on this thing, and I like to metaphorically think of a slide. Because of the way graphic technologies work, the slide is sort of like a table with a white tablecloth on it, or not. You think of slide is basically an empty page upon which you assign and stack attributes. So think of it as this is the kitchen table beneath us and we're the chandelier looking down upon it. The process of working in PowerPoint is to put objects and attributes on this. You might change the tablecloth color, or you might put on a patterned tablecloth to give it a certain look and feel. Whatever you know is that this is going to behave differently than maybe Microsoft Word. I can almost guarantee you that most of you have plenty of experience working in Microsoft Word. So when we're working in PowerPoint, we want to set aside our understanding of how text flows in Microsoft Word from one page to the next and think about working with individual slides that we add, and subtract from our presentation. We have multiple tables here with the opportunity to put different tablecloths, different plates, different candles, and different foods on those plates. So think of every slide as an individual, and you may want all of your slides to appear to be a cohesive whole, or they may look entirely different. It's up to you as the thoughtful designer. There are no rules. There are no prescribed ways of doing this for better results. However, there are principles that you should observe when you go about making design decisions. So when we think of our slides as objects, and what I'm going to do here is just focus on the number one up here. So I'm going to go ahead and select one of these and click my delete key, or I can go File, Edit, Delete Slide right down here in my menus. I'm going to delete slides and just continue to take those away so that we're all looking at the same page. This is a slide that has a predetermined layout assigned to it. These layouts are all changeable, and we'll get into that later. What I want you to see is that right here, this predetermined layout that's been set up for us, this is a title slide layout, has a predetermined box in which we can click and add text. It's kind of telling us, go ahead and put something here. So, Intro to PowerPoint Slides. This is what's called a text box. This little blue rectangle that I just clicked into and edited text is literally called a text box. And what you want to think of it is a container that holds text. The container can grow and it can shrink. It can in fact be moved. Watch this. In fact, what's super cool about PowerPoint, unlike Microsoft Word, I can run that text off the page. Okay? That is a very powerful attribute you won't want to forget. It looks really silly right now, but you see that I have the ability to do that. As you move forward in your knowledge of PowerPoint and using PowerPoint, you're going to find that a lot of the system behaviors when it comes to this. PowerPoint will allow you to move pictures on and off the slide. It will allow you to make those pictures saturated, that's the dog, saturated with color or desaturated with color. You will be able to crop things and shorten things and apply special effects to things. Right now, we're just looking at the raw materials, nothing more. But we have to understand the mechanics. So again, here's another text box that's predetermined for me on this slide, and I'm going to say this is a subtitle. And again, I click outside of that box or click back. I get this little crosshair icon. Do you see that? Looks like a little compass of some sort, and I can move it around. When I see that, that means I'm dealing with an object as opposed to an editing capability. I hover over the text. Notice that the appearance of the cursor changes from the crosshairs to what they call the I bar, I believe. And then when it's in that mode, that means it's seeing the text. It's not seeing it as an object. So when you think first and foremost of your text boxes, which are going to contain the words you have on a page, you want to know that PowerPoint can see them in two ways. It can see them as words on a slide, or it can see them actually as something inside an object that can be moved around. Look at this. You can get things to overlap. Okay, this is where PowerPoint's talents start to move it outside of the Microsoft Word domain. And this is where these two applications start to distinguish themselves in terms of what they're good at. Okay, so that was your introduction to text boxes and objects on slides.